Welcome back to the Heat Check Podcast. I am your co-host, Chris Patrick. With me today, as always, averaging 32 points, 18 rebounds, and 6 assists, Michael Benjamin.
What up, what up?
How you doing, big dog?
Doing great, man.
Hell yeah, hell yeah. And, of course, also in the studio, the president of the Young Gravy Fan Club Arizona chapter, VSP Tallman. What's going on?
Oh, fuck. What's going on, guys?
I'm happy to have you guys here. I'm stoked. It is Saturday, October 8th. We are in Valley Sports Plug Studio B out here in the Southeast Valley. We're having a great time. We've been watching some of this wild card baseball. The Padres taking on the Mets. Pete Alonso cranked one over the fence. But we are here to talk about Valley Sports, and more specifically, we got Phoenix Suns action and their schedule to start the season. We got the Arizona Cardinals taking on the Eagles tomorrow. Likely by the time you hear this podcast, that game will be over. So
they would have lost.
And Tallman thinks they're gonna lose. What you took them under by 2 touchdowns?
No, I said they're gonna lose by 2 touchdowns. I took 5.5 Eagles.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so we'll have to see. We got the Tallman ticket coming up later, of course, as part of our Arizona Cardinals coverage and the NFL. We got DeAndre Hopkins coming back pretty soon. And yeah, man, we might even get to touch on the D-backs. We'll see where this podcast takes us. But guys, I'm glad to be back. How you been living? What's going on?
Life is good, man. Really excited to be here. Chop it up with y'all fellas. God, I can't believe that the NBA is already starting. We were talking about earlier how it, everything with COVID transitioned the start, and now they're kind of trying to make up for lost time. So it's really cool to see the overlap a little bit earlier with the NFL season. So plenty to talk about, and I'm ready to go.
Most definitely. Tallman?
Yeah, dude, living the dream, man. Got the wedding bands today, spent too much money.
There you go.
Lost on college football, so it's a normal Saturday.
Just a normal Saturday for Tallman.
Exactly.
Beautiful, beautiful. Well, let's just get right into it then. Like I said, we got the Phoenix Suns action. Their season starts October 19th at home against the Mavericks, a redemption game. Right now, I was checking before the pod, the Suns are favorited to win. It's a -5.5 in favor of the Suns. So we'll see. We got some of the schedule. One of the interesting things I noted when we were talking about this in show prep is in our first 9 games here in October and the first part of November, we play the Portland Trailblazers 3 out of our first 9 games. And Mike, we were talking about this. What you don't like that, and one of those is a back-to-back, November 4th and November 5th. What do you make of that scheduling and like having us play them so much? Probably 3/4 of our games against them already.
Just a bit odd. I mean, I don't know how great the Trailblazers are going to be, so maybe it's a blessing in disguise to start the season off by playing them so early, getting some nice wins. But I always like to space out, the competition. Those back-to-backs, I understand they happen, but it's just always so weird because the travel that these guys have to do, they play here in Phoenix and then have to get on a flight right after the game and go to Portland to play the same guys. It's kind of weird, but got to get off on the right foot, especially with everything that's been going on the past couple of weeks / months. And I know we're going to talk about it a little bit, but it's really also awesome to see that this team is getting some more national recognition with 34 nationally televised games this year, including that first game against the Mavericks on ESPN on the 19th. So we're going to be in the limelight this year, and we got some new pieces. We have some other guys that are still waiting to be shipped out, like Jay Crowder, but got to get off on the right foot because this Western Conference has reloaded and guys are coming back and are healthy. So we're going to have our work cut out for us for sure this year.
Without a doubt. I'm excited and honestly a little pessimistic. There seems to be a lot of off the court stuff and locker room drama. We, like you said, Mike, we'll get into some more of that nitty gritty stuff. There's reported tension between Monty Williams and DeAndre Ayton, despite what they've said. Jay Crowder's trying to force his way out right now. Tallman, are you optimistic or pessimistic for this Suns season coming up?
Oh, I'm very optimistic. Not just saying that because I have money on them to win the title, but very optimistic. And why are you guys so worried about the Trailblazers?
I'm not worried
I mean,
about the
no, I know you're not.
We're
You're
not
probably
worried
not
about
worried
it.
about
It's just
them,
odd to
but
play them 3 times.
that many times, then you have to fly
right
to. I get it.
Well, yeah. So the
Portland.
first game on the 21st is in Portland, and then we play them back to back in Phoenix on November 4th and 5th.
Okay, all right. So it's strange. is
Yeah,
what it
it's
is.
just strange.
Yeah.
It's just strange to have that many in the first, because it's the first within the first 10 games of an 82 game season, and we play them 4 times. So we only play them one more time. I didn't check how much further in the season that game comes, but it just seems odd. I don't know if they're trying to cut back on like the travel aspect of it and like having people play those back to backs, or same city, same coast type of stuff. I know that that's been a point of contention with teams when it comes to resting players. That's their excuse for resting players, is the travel takes a toll as well, which I understand to an extent. But
no, I'm definitely optimistic, and I'm so ready to see DeAndre Ayton probably go ham. I'm gonna use that phrase.
going hard as a motherfucker.
Exactly. He got his payday. Apparently, he can't talk to the coach, so I'm ready to see him just like, I don't know, just ball out and do what he's gonna do. And I'm probably thinking that it's gonna be hard decision when it comes January 15th, and everyone's saying, oh, they're gonna trade him. But I bet you if he plays really good, it's gonna be crazy. But I think finally he has the motivation that he needs. Not that I don't know. It was always like, oh, well, Chris Paul needs to hype him up. Like, we need to get DeAndre Ayton mad so that he can, play better. So I think he's shown pretty good in the preseason, and I'm excited to see what he does. I bet you he goes 20 points, 10 rebounds. He averages that through the first 3 months of the season.
I'd love that, and it's something that we're going to need from him because Chris Paul is no spring chicken. And
it's like your favorite phrase.
I love it, dude.
He isn't, though. He's 38.
He's 38 years old, and DeAndre Ayton is getting the big boy bucks. That's another phrase that I like to say.
Boy bucks.
But it's his time, man, and I'm excited to see kind of what energy he brings this year. I'm still kind of, every once in a while when he attacks the basket and finishes, and he does those quick like flush jams, you know what I'm saying, where there's not much force behind it. I'd love to like split those in half where he just tries to rip the rim down
Way more aggressive
on more of those half of those, you know what I'm saying? Like, I understand you're quick at the basket, you're getting it in fast and running back down on defense. That's great, but you'd be surprised how often guys can really get some good energy from a huge, just dynamic, nasty slam, even with nobody around you. You know what I mean? Like,
right.
2-hand flush, cock it back, just go crazy on the rim. Like, that's what I'm hoping to see out of him a little bit more this year. It's going to be interesting to see how he incorporates a little bit more of his outside game as well. I know that they were talking about the 3-point shot and the addition within his game, corner threes. Kind of weird. I don't want to see it that much, but it's okay to spread the floor a little bit more. But the last thing I'll say about DeAndre Ayton too is, to be honest with you guys, I hope he doesn't get traded because he is one of the best big men in the league. No matter how you feel about it, he's a walking double-double. He contributes. He shoots at a great percentage, and he's still so young. He has a lot to still learn and develop. And if we can just get his mind right and make sure that we're focusing on the right things, I think we're going to be really happy to have him around for the next at least 5 years, with this contract extension. But just got to talk to the coach, I guess,
Yeah. And that's one of those things where I definitely agree with what you're saying, Mike. You got to talk to the coach. It's weird that there's these, I know the Suns team is going to try and navigate away from it. Monty Williams and Devin Booker were saying that, Monty Williams said that these guys can take the summer off and really disconnect and get away from the team, and like they didn't really communicate. But on the same breath, Devin Booker said, yeah, well, I did talk to coach a couple times. And I think it is more on Monty Williams to reach out and mend any perceived relationship. And DeAndre Ayton, of course, he's young, and I think he's going to mature But I feel like Monty Williams should have made an attempt or an effort to say, hey, big dog, like, I appreciate everything you did this season, hard work. I hope you have a great summer. No hard feelings. Let's get back in the gym. Let's, whatever happens with the front office, it's, that's not on me. But that's at the same time understanding that there's these reports coming out where people are saying that DeAndre Ayton doesn't fit into Monty Williams' scheme, which that would lead me to believe that a trade could be more likely at the trade deadline, but it has to be for a decent return. And I think a guy like a Kevin Durant, they want a superstar in exchange for DeAndre Ayton, because you're right, Mike, he is one of the best centers in the league. Whether he's a superstar or not is yet to be seen, but he is young and I think he does have high potential. So getting a Miles Turner for him is unacceptable. We have to get more than that. But we're talking about the Suns here. I didn't do it at the beginning, but I got to let you guys know where you can find us. And that's online at AZ_Valley Sports Plug. I'm sorry, at AZ_VSP. I always fuck that up. On Instagram, Twitter, and TikTok. Valley Sports Plug on YouTube and Facebook. And really, you just type Valley Sports Plug into Google and you will find us. We're on all podcast platforms. We're on YouTube for all these videos. And let us know if you guys want to see us on another platform. Leave a comment on the YouTube video, hit us up on one of these other platforms, and we are men of the people. We want to give you what you want. So that's why we do these Heat Check podcasts once a month, do a broad overview of the Valley sports teams and everything that's going on. And then on YouTube, you can check out our live streams where we'll do a once a week stream. We got the Heat Check podcast live with the three of us here. We got the Past the Outlet podcast with me and Michael Benjamin talking about everything basketball, from youth sports to the professional level and everything in between. And we just did a roundtable this week where we bring on our Valley Sports Plug contributors, bringing you some exclusive takes and really unique perspectives from across the country. We got people in Texas, New York people, Chicago people, and it's a good time. So come and join us. That's all I got to say. That's all I'm going to plug. We don't have any sponsors, so we sponsor ourselves, and you guys support us with your likes and your views, and we really appreciate it. So back to the task at hand here. We're talking about the Phoenix Suns, and I want to touch more on this Monty Williams and DeAndre Ayton drama. As you were pointing out, Mike, they're going to try and obviously having to work with DeAndre Ayton at least until Tallman, what was it, January 15th?
Yes.
Is when he becomes eligible for a trade.
Yes.
Okay. Perfect. So what do you think, Mike, as far, I guess, no, first I'll pass this to Tallman. Who would you like to see in a return for DeAndre Ayton, or would you like to keep him depending on how he plays?
Wow. Okay.
Loaded question.
Yeah.
Sure.
So who would I like to see in return? I don't have anyone specific that we would probably like to see in return.
Okay, I guess
obviously if you
like,
go ahead. Right.
I was just gonna say to make it easier, maybe not a specific player, but like a position or a type of player.
Yeah, well, a scorer. We need a scorer, Chris. We need a scorer. You need to score, but then it's like, okay, well, who's going to replace him? Who's going to be your center? Who's going to be the guy that, even though at times last year it looked like DeAndre Ayton couldn't get a rebound to save his life. But if they're going to get rid of him, they're going to trade him. They need to get a polarizing piece to where it's okay. So we're going to lose Jay Crowder. Cam Johnson's going to probably start, right? So then you're going to get rid of DeAndre Ayton. So it's like you need to replace him with a third piece that'll just complement Booker and Paul, and that third piece that is going to complement them to start has to be the piece that puts you over the hill, right? Like that was going to make you be able to win a championship. So, but going back to it, I know I said they should trade him, but I'd like to see him stay. Hopefully that relationship could be mended. And I think he's going to come into this season I hate the whole saying like, oh, he's got a chip on his shoulder. He's got a chip on his shoulder, right?
Mm-hmm.
But maybe he does. Maybe he's a little upset.
Because it's not like he's playing for a contract. He got the contract.
Yeah, he got it. But it's like, well, they were going to trade me anyway. They're trying to get rid of me. You know? They want Kevin Durant. And then at the same time, it's like if your name is involved in a trade that involves Kevin Durant, you can't be upset about that. I mean, Kevin Durant's one of the top 5 players in the league. But I don't know. I think we need to kind of mend that relationship because we need him. because he can score, So
He can't
they
get
just
rebounds.
have to use him. Yeah,
it's the
remember,
consistency.
Like last year, it's like, well, I can't score if no one gives me the ball, So figure out a way to give him the ball. So if they were going to get rid of him, it needs to be, I don't know, somebody that's strong forward, power forward that can score. Someone that can complement Booker and Paul and really like score. Like we're giving up a lot of defense, we give it a DA, but how are you going to replace that at the same time? So it's tough. It's a tough scenario.
I think the tough situation as well is you're kind of behind in regards to what you can really get for him, at least at the moment, because we saw from free agency that what he wanted was not what a lot of teams were willing to pay for him, and they didn't think that he was on the level of a max player. The only team that really thought that was the Indiana Pacers, and I don't know if they're really in rebuild mode, but they're not contenders right now. I think a big thing that we're going to have to see is the pieces that you get back for Jay Crowder. Do we bring in a power forward who can stretch the floor a little bit, get some scoring punch on that second unit? Do we get another wing? Do we end up getting a backup point guard? Like I've been hearing some rumblings about Jay Crowder and a possible another piece like Torrey Craig for Karis LeVert with the Cleveland Cavaliers. What do you get back in regards to that? Then you have to see, well, what do you need to fill out around the rest of this unit? Because I think with Cam Johnson coming into the starting lineup, you're losing a good scoring punch off of the bench right now. So it's really all going to depend on what you get back in regards to Jay Crowder. And the other thing, too, is unfortunately, no matter what trade, if there is a trade for with DeAndre Ayton, you're not going to really get back what you probably deserve for a number 1 overall pick. It's you're going to get pennies on the dollar, unfortunately. And it's also going to be tough to match salaries, especially with him being a max player. So there's just a lot of pieces to juggle. And, to answer your question too, Chris, I hope he doesn't get traded, because I think that he can be a dominant player in this league if his mind is right and he brings the right type of energy. Because like he already said at the first week of training camp, is that he's playing for a city, right? It's not just the name on his back. He's playing for us, and he's also playing for his legacy now. You don't have to worry about the dollars. They're already here. You're starting to play for your position within the league, your respect that you can gain from your game, and start putting yourself in the upper echelon, the top 20, top 10 players within the league. And I hope that he's a guy that can really do that, because I feel like he wants to be a guy who's in the limelight. And you know what happens if you play good, you get in the limelight. So More consistency, that's all we need.
And he's definitely going to have times to be able to shine in the limelight, having those 34 national games that you pointed out earlier. And that could only boost his value should the relationship sour to the point where he might demand a trade. But right at this point in time, it seems like they're going to try and make it work. And I think once the games start playing, kind of like we said with the Cardinals, it'll put all that offseason noise to rest. And once they start winning games, they're seated high in the Western Conference. They're trending towards making the playoffs. I expect them to be a top 5 team minimum, preferably a top 2 or 3 team at this point. I mean, with the roster we have in our core, I'm just worried about some of these guys on the bench, because it seems like we have a whole brand new bench coming in, guys that didn't play on this team before. Just to name a few: Jock Landale, Frank Jackson. I don't know how much court he's going to see, but Josh Okogie, Dario Saric is coming back after being gone a long time. I'm not so much worried about him, but Mike, I wanted to ask you, with all these guys coming in, with the potential for DeAndre Ayton being shipped out, if he were to be traded, would you be comfortable having Jock Landale or Bismack Biyombo start, or would we need another big man back in return for Ayton?
So I haven't seen Jock Landale and what his game is really all about yet. I know he does have a good post game, and he can spread the floor and shoot. So how long has he been in the league? I think, was he a rookie last year? I think he might have been.
I don't think
So
it's
he's going to go through his own growing pains. But Bismack Biyombo seemed serviceable to an extent as well, so I'd be okay with him starting, but I think it would have to be more so by committee at the center position. You're not, if DeAndre Ayton ends up leaving and you don't bring any other pieces in, you're thinking that, Bismack's going to play 22 minutes a game and then Londell gets 18 to 20. So you're not having to stretch those guys
maybe play some
longer
small
than they
ball
need to.
here and there.
And maybe that fits better within Monty Williams' system and what he wants to run, because he wants to push the pace, get the ball to the wing, shoot, and create and drive to the basket, which has been tough for DeAndre Ayton because he has gotten better at going off the dribble, but he is a bigger guy. He's a little bit slower too, so it's hard to run action and sets just for him, and that's why you see DeAndre Ayton, well, I can't score if you don't give me the ball. Well, it's because everything else is, involved with Chris Paul and Devin Booker. So I'd love to get another big man back in return. I think it would be a great asset to have another guy that you can bring into the fold like we had with JaVale McGee, which I think is going to be a bigger loss than people really thought. Because he was really serviceable. He could get in there, give you 10, 12 points, 5 rebounds within 15 minutes a night without blinking an eye. And, those guys right now are backups. Do they have that within our system? I hope so. So that's what it all comes down to, man. It's how the cookie crumbles.
We're going to have to see. And I want to see him come out of the gate strong and really have a good start to the season. Tallman, I'll ask you first, but I want you both to answer just to finish out talking about the Suns. To talk on the games we have, the first ones that'll probably happen between now and the next time we record one of these Heat Check podcasts. Like we said, we start the season with the Mavericks on the 19th, and then after that we're in Portland against the Trailblazers, we're in LA against the Clippers, then home against Golden State, the Pelicans, the Rockets, the Timberwolves, and then also back-to-back games against the Trailblazers, as we were saying. Tallman, that's some tough teams in Golden State, the Clippers, and maybe even the Pelicans. Out of those games, which one are you nervous about our start to the season with those tough matchups, especially the redemption game against the Mavericks?
I'm not nervous at all. I do like that redemption game though. That'll be a good game against. It'll be chippy. I know that. I can't wait to see Devin Booker interact with Doncic, but I'm not worried about that. I mean, it's Golden State like always. I'm not worried about any of the games. Clippers. I don't know. I think I bet you we sweep the Trailblazers. I bet you we beat them every single time. And I really want to hope that we're going to beat the Mavericks too to open the season. But who knows? So I'm not worried at all about the start. I bet you the Suns come off to a really hot start. That's, I think, what we're all kind of looking for. I think they come out with the statement. Last year was kind of a smack in the face in the postseason. I think they're going to come out hot. I think it's going to be great. It's going to be kind of the revenge tour, right? So I'm excited.
Yeah, the first game against the Mavericks is very enticing, very spicy. But like I said, favored to win by at least 5.5. The line is minus 5.5.
Surprised it's not more than that.
I know.
Wait, who the Mavs get though? They picked up an extra piece, right?
Well, they got JaVale, and they also got Christian Wood.
Ah, okay, that's who it is.
From Houston.
Yeah.
Yep.
All right.
Who it'll be interesting to see how he fits in the fold. But, these first 10 games are going to be a real good test for us. You think back to last year, I think we started like 1-3, 1-4, and then ended up winning like 16 or 17 straight.
Yeah.
So
we started slow last year, yeah.
Right. So getting off on the right foot is going to be key. And we got some real good tests right early in the season, with the Clippers getting back. I think Kawhi is going to be ready to go, and they added in John Wall, obviously playing the current champions, the Warriors, the Pelicans, that first round matchup, which was a slugfest.
Is Zion back?
And Zion should be back. Yep. And then the Timberwolves team, who was a playoff team last year, Anthony Edwards seems to be coming into his own, adding Rudy Gobert to pair alongside with Karl Anthony Towns. And then that 10th game of the season is against the 76ers. So that'll be a great test also for DeAndre Ayton, because he'll have some really key matchups against some of the best bigs in the league to see where he's going to step forward early on this season. So I'm ready to go, man. I am so ready to go.
Yeah, I'm excited. It seems like it's been forever since we saw Suns basketball, and I'm glad you brought up that 10th game against the 76ers, because that just only further highlights the season slate we have to start this season, for lack of a better word. Of course, we do have the Trailblazers 3 times. Like, Tallman thinks we'll win all 3 of those, and I think that's very possible. I mean, Dame Lillard, it's going to be interesting to see if he stays with the franchise or if he gets moved. I've heard conflicting reports. I've heard both that he wants to be moved and both that he's loyal. Mike, what do you think? What do you hear about that?
He wants to make rap songs.
Dame Dollar.
Sorry.
It's going to be tough for him to win in Portland unless they make some really good draft choices within the next couple of years. But also, I mean, he's been in the league for, I think, over 10 years now. So
Yeah.
not that his time frame is coming to an end or anything like that. He's still a top player in this league, but
That long?
that unit is still trying to play catch up with the rest of the Western Conference. I don't think they'll make the playoffs this year. And I'm pretty sure he signed a 2-year extension this summer.
I think you're right.
So that makes it a little bit easier to move him off. But, you know, just last year they chose him over CJ McCollum. So I think he loves Portland and wants to finish out his career there as long as he's still being competitive. And I like Dame, man. I like Portland. I've always wanted to go and see a game there. Maybe that can be a road trip one day. We'll go see
That'd be tight.
the Suns there. But got to get off on the right foot and put the pedal to the metal early this year.
Yeah. I think a strong start is definitely going to be a key to our success, especially against some of these better teams. It's going to be very interesting, and we will keep you updated every step of the way with our live streams, and hopefully we have a pretty good record next time we meet up and do these podcasts. We'll have to see, but we got a lot coming up. Speaking of which, coming up for the Arizona Cardinals this Sunday, October 9th, is the Philadelphia Eagles, who are 4-0. Yes, sir. We are playing them here at home in Glendale. Mike, do you have any kind of optimism? We've already heard Cody say he knows he's betting against them.
I didn't say anything.
You said you're going to bet against them.
Yeah.
But Mike Benjamin, what about you?
I'd love to have some optimism. Unfortunately, I might be siding with Cody on this one. I think the only thing that I'm wondering about in this game is, do I start Zach Ertz or do I start Dallas Goedert? Because I have both of them on my fantasy team.
You start Goddard.
I've been running with Goddard, but you know, we're still dealing with the injury bug right now. You know, now it sounds like Rodney Hudson isn't going to play on Sunday, and this offense has just been so slow and sloppy. It seems like, you know, using unnecessary timeouts, guys not set, and the one good thing is this defense has been playing incredible and keeping this team in games. You could say that again.
I mean, it's easy to say your defense is incredible when you go against fucking Baker Mayfield and one of the worst offenses in the fucking the NFL. So
the last 3 weeks, they've definitely have been stepping up their game, and it sounds like we're going to get Antonio Hamilton back in the mix here pretty shortly. I don't know if he's playing this week. Is he? Have you heard anything about that?
wait, is that the guy that
The grease on the legs guy.
he had the kitchen accident?
Yeah.
Yeah, I heard that he had an appointment with Gordon Ramsay, and he taught him how to cook right, and now he's ready to go.
So he's ready to go.
So, yeah.
He's ready to play, and he's ready to
he got
whip
skin,
it up
He got
correctly.
skin grafts and
His status on the injury
Everything.
report was mentoring with Gordon Ramsay.
yeah. It's fucking raw.
But I mean, I always have optimism for this team. The expectations is where I don't have much. If that sounds bad, I mean, sue me. But I just try and go in with the even keel. You know my motto: not too high, not too low.
Not too high, not too low.
But we gotta get a damn win at home, man. And this would be a great stepping stone right here to get your first win in almost a calendar year against possibly the best team in the NFL through the first quarter of the season. the house is going to be rocking for sure. Shout out Drama. I know he's a big Eagles fan.
He's going.
He'll be there tomorrow. So hopefully he can come home crying. And
Unfortunately,
then we can rub it in
he's
his
not
face a
going to
little
come
bit.
home crying, but
Well, we'll have to see. I mean, the Cardinals, I think they do have a little bit of momentum coming off that win in Carolina. They've made some moves on their roster to get some guys in positions. Like you said, guys are getting healthy. We're in a couple weeks, we're going to have DeAndre Hopkins back. So there is some reason to be optimistic. But Tallman, while we're talking Cardinals, do you want to defend your pessimistic view on this weekend and this game coming up?
defend it. What do you mean I have to defend it?
Well, because I think me and Michael Benjamin here are a little more optimistic, thinking it could be
So
a
you think
game.
that-
I think
okay.
I'm not necessarily saying I think the Cardinals are going to win, but I think they'll compete.
Okay, I got you. All right, it's fine. So we'll start it out. Oh, Escobar just hit a RBI single. Nice. I'll start it out by saying there is no way we're going to beat that team. It's not.
No way.
No way. They come out hot out of the gates. What do we do out of the gates? Nothing. We're ice cold. So we're going to go down 14, 17 zip to start. I bet you right now, you want to take bets that we go 17 zip?
17-0 to start the game.
Yeah, 17-0 to start.
No,
like 17-0 at halftime. No, I'm saying like at some point it's going to be 17 to zip. I'll tell you that right now. That's going to happen. So I don't think we can hang with them. We don't have the same explosive offense that they have. And to think that our defense is going to slow them down is funny. We can barely pressure the quarterback. We got JJ Watt over here getting heart procedures. Like, what is going on with that? Like, he's getting shocked. Like, what? I don't even know what that is.
Shocked him back to life and
Yeah,
put some
did he die
fire
or
under this
something?
team,
Like,
too.
what is going on? And there's all this stuff going on because you guys saw all the Tua stuff, right? This is also a tangent. They're like, well, should JJ Watt been allowed to play? Like, because they're all worried about the player's safety. And
Of course,
all that.
yeah.
Yeah, and then the doctors came out. They're like, well, honestly, the best thing that could happen for him is to exercise, so it's good. Well,
Makes sense.
Yeah, let alone play football, go get smashed and killed.
Like not a
Yeah,
run in the
yeah,
park
that
or
makes-
on the
yeah,
treadmill or something.
but-
Yeah.
It's going to be a tough game. And, all right, let me flip it over. Okay, so if we have any chance of winning this football game, it is going to start with what? What is it going to start with?
A better start. We have to start strong.
Well, no, I'm saying what
points on the
player?
board.
What
Points on the
player?
board.
in the first quarter.
Kyler Murray.
No. Who does he hand the ball off to? James Conner.
Conner. Yeah.
Running the football. If we have any chance of winning this game, we need to run the football. That's it. If we don't do that, it's not going to happen. So we need to pound that football, or we're going to lose a lot.
Okay. You're right. I don't necessarily disagree, but I think a lot of that, of course, comes on the head coach and the play calling, Cliff Kingsbury.
He sucks.
Yeah, okay, thank you, Tallman. Me and Michael Benjamin were talking about this last night at Zips. Mike, what do you make of Cliff Kingsbury up to this point in the season, and how confident are you as him being the future coach of the Cardinals going forward? I know they just signed an extension, but they can always cut him at any time.
This team is built around the three-headed monster of Kyler Murray, Steve Keim, and Cliff Kingsbury. So if those guys are going to be the major pieces, he's not going anywhere. As far as a head coach, I'd be fine with him sticking around, but his offense has been a little bit sloppy. And obviously within his first 3 years, we've seen an uphill climb, getting better, putting points on the board, and then that steep drop off in the second half of seasons. And right now it's opposite. And hopefully you're crossing your fingers for that, right? You're hoping that we're just starting off slow, and then once we can get some of our guys a little bit more healthy and our top wide receiver weapon back in DeAndre Hopkins, you can start to see a little bit more momentum from this offense. The other thing you have to think about is James Conner hurt his ankle, and in that Rams game, he was definitely still kind of dealing with that, but he started to get back on the right footing last week, especially finishing that game off. And I know some of the things I said about it, well, the Panthers, it was already kind of a 2-possession lead, so how hard were they trying? But, if you can finish the game with first downs on the ground and run hard and get that momentum on the ground, hopefully we'll see a bigger game from James Conner. I want to see him punch it in this weekend to get his momentum going a little bit more forward for this season as well. But I don't know if it's just we don't have the full complement of pieces on the offensive end, so that's why it seems like Cliff Kingsbury's offense is just running in circles and hurting itself right now, or if it's just he doesn't know, his situational awareness is a little bit off. Like, he can't figure out, hey, 3rd and 27, let's not throw a fucking screen pass. Right. Let's try and take a shot.
He's not aggressive.
What's the worst thing that can happen?
No, Tallman, I disagree. He is aggressive. When we have a
when he's on fourth down.
When we have a 4th and 2 and we're in field goal range.
But why do we
quarter,
ever get to 4th down though? Because he does a little dink and duck on 3rd down.
But
he's aggressive in the wrong situation.
Okay, but you're right.
Yeah, so he's aggressive on 4th down. Absolutely.
Yeah, no, I definitely think I definitely agree with that. I know he is very aggressive on those 4th downs. I think we've gone for it more than any other team. But at the same time, I think we've been more successful than any other team on the 4th down conversions, at least up until that point.
When you do it that many times, you're going to be better than everybody. What do you mean? Of course,
no, that's fair. Back to
they set a record.
Yeah, 16 4th down, going for it 16 times through 4 weeks, dude. That's insane.
Yeah, that's not a good record. And yet again, it's more Arizona sports teams setting bad records. But I don't want to, as much as I love to put all the blame on Cliff Kingsbury, and I think he does deserve a lot of it. It's him calling the plays, being the head coach and the offensive coordinator. I think Vance Joseph might be looking at him sideways, like maybe you should be the offensive coordinator and I should be the head coach, but that's a whole nother conversation. I don't want to detract from the fact, though, that I think from what I've seen in these last couple games is Kyler Murray needs to make quicker decisions. I don't know if it's him having a hard time seeing over the line or seeing these receivers coming across the middle, but a lot of these plays could have been that end up in either a sack or a thrown away pass, could have been maybe a 3, 4, 5 yard gain had he made a quicker decision and found a check down and gone through his reads. And I don't know, maybe is it him not going through his reads quick enough, or
he doesn't know how to do it.
And that goes full circle to all these contract negotiations, him watching film, and there's been that criticism of him.
Can't do it.
Mike, is this what you've seen, and have you noticed him not being able to make his reads quick enough?
I don't know if it's that he can't make the reads quick enough, or if he's just running for his life off of a 4-man pressure, because we can't block anybody.
Yeah.
I mean, Rodney Hudson's hurt. DJ Humphries is questionable. Justin Pugh has already missed time. We have offensive guards running into refs and getting suspended or kicked out of the game, So the one thing that you do have to say is that it is going to be on the back of Kyler Murray, the success of this offense, obviously. So, yeah, I mean, one of the plays in that Carolina Panthers game, after we had gotten that penalty on that 1st and goal, they had ran some side routes, and there were 3 guys wide open on the left side, and it looked like Kyler Murray didn't even look to that side. But then he got pressured, so then he scooted out and ran for about 6 yards or so. But it's always going to be tough for him, man. He's just a smaller guy. Offensive linemen are normally like 6'3", 6'4", taller guys, bigger guys. So, but there's also a difference between not reading the field properly and the play calls that are set up just for like wide receiver screens or 2-yard outs and different things like that. How successful is that really going to be over time when your offense is predicated kind of on dink and dunk? Mm-hmm. The best things that we saw, especially in the end of that Carolina Panthers game, is we started to push the ball a little bit farther down the field, and then we took our shots on early downs, not when you're going for it on 3rd and 2 in a critical situation and you're throwing a 30-yard bomb. You know what I'm saying? Take your shots at more opportune times, or if it doesn't work out for your offense, you get to reset it and then go for it again. Mm-hmm. That's what we saw from that Hollywood Brown touchdown, that 25-yarder. So it's a mix right now. I think this team is just we're still almost like in the preseason phase, trying to figure out what we're doing and having guys really in the right position because nobody was on the field to start the season, you know?
Yeah.
Absolutely right, dude. It's so frustrating to watch every single Cardinals game, okay? What was the difference between this year and last year? You don't know what it is?
What's that?
We threw the ball down the field. We could run the football.
Thank you, Tallman. Are they afraid to do that?
What is going on?
Is it because DeAndre Hopkins is out that
I don't
they're afraid
know.
to do
I
that?
don't know
Do
what
they
it
not
is.
trust
But that is
Hollywood
the
Brown? Do
biggest-
they not have the rapport built there yet?
Throw the ball down the field.
I agree.
That's why we went 7-0. That's why we were 10-2 at one point, because we could run the football and we stuck to it. We were committed to it. We didn't give up when we didn't get any fucking yards on the first 2 attempts.
Yeah.
Like, they abandoned the run all the time, and they don't throw the ball down the field at all. That is the biggest difference.
And
what is going on? Also, he is not using his feet. Run the ball.
Yeah, he hasn't ran nearly
Run
as
the
much
ball.
this season as he has before.
What is going on?
Not
Did you
to-
see the stat? Sorry, I don't mean to cut you
No,
off.
go for it. Go for it.
So when he runs, when Kyler Murray's, who I'm talking about, when he has more than 10 rushing attempts, we're 10-1. We're 10-1 when he has more than 10 rushing attempts. Run the ball. Use your feet. How many times has he not done that? Do it. Throw the ball down the field. What is going on? I don't understand the play call. That's why we're sitting here talking about Cliff Kingsbury.
Uh-huh.
Because what are they doing? Oh, okay, it's 3rd and 8, and we're gonna do no. All right, let me take it back. Okay, when they did there was a 4th and 2, 4th and 1, and they did the jet sweep with Rondale Moore.
Yep.
Yeah, nice call, Cliff. When we're on the 10-yard line of the Carolina
That's a
Panthers,
shit play call.
Yeah, that was total shit fucking play call.
Well, listen, Tallman, I think you're exactly highlighting my point is Kyler isn't making decisions quick enough because he's either got to make the read or if it's not there, if he doesn't see it, he's got to use his fucking legs and get out of that pocket because clearly he's not getting the protection he feels he needs and the amount of time he needs to hang in the pocket and make his reads. So he's panicked and he's making poor decisions. I don't know why he doesn't want to run it, if he's afraid of getting hit, if he doesn't want to get banged up, but he's gotten paid. So whether he plays or not, I'm pretty sure he's still going to get paid. If he's injured, I don't wish that upon anyone. I don't wish that upon Kyler, but I want everyone to take a deep breath. Like Michael Benjamin always says, not too high, not too low. There's always adjustments that can be made throughout the season.
Totally.
So, fellas.
Sorry, go ahead.
No, okay, I'm going to pass it to you here, Tallman. I want you to talk on this because you think that the Cardinals are going to lose this game against the Eagles, which would make us 2-3. And then next week we'll be at Seattle.
Yeah.
So will we be 3-3 when DeAndre Hopkins comes back against the Saints on Thursday Night Football?
Yes. So remember the last podcast we did? I said as long as we're 3-3, it's like a new season.
Yep. Uh-huh.
I said that. And you got to, if we look back on what happened, like we won that Raiders game was a miracle. We should have lost that game 10 times out of 10.
Yep.
Even watching the first half of this Carolina Panthers game last week, like I sat there, I was like, we're gonna fucking lose. We're gonna lose this game, you know. And we all sat there and thought 10-3. Kyler throws a pick six. It's like we're screwed. Like we haven't changed a single bit. We look terrible, and it was so demoralizing that I thought we were gonna lose that game, and then we came back and Baker Mayfield.
Voila.
Baker Mayfield showed his. I can't say his fucking name.
Baker Mayfield
showed his.
The
true
guy from
colors.
the commercials.
Yeah, that guy. You know the guy. Yeah. What's the commercial? Who cares? He showed his true colors, and we really capitalized on his mistakes. So if we would have played that game against anybody else, any other team, we would have lost that game. We did not play good football. And we're going to sit here and be like, oh, yeah, well, the defense got 3 turnovers. Who knows? I don't remember exactly how many turnovers they had. But that's a plus. Yeah, we won the game because of the defense, and we capitalized on some of the turnovers that we had. But look at who we were playing. If we played any other team, I bet you we would have lost that game. The Carolina Panthers are in a really bad spot, and they are not a good football team. They have a good, decent defense, but that offense is terrible. And they made our defense, which is pretty much terrible.
Well-
they made our defense look good.
Well, when your only
So-
weapon is your running back, and you know what to you put a cover
Yeah.
on McCaffrey, you put a cover on the quarterback, and then pressure on him, and
Yeah.
you know Baker Mayfield's not the answer there. But
So, what was your question? Was
3-3 when DeAndre
3
Hopkins
and 3?
comes
Yeah.
back on Thursday
So
Night
we're gonna be
Football.
2 and 3 after tomorrow for sure.
That's what. Yep.
Yeah, we're gonna lose that game.
Okay.
Unless Kyler can run the ball, if we can keep up with them, maybe. But they're gonna score all over us. Dude.
I agree. It takes
And
a good. They have to come out
there,
hot.
Yeah, we're gonna sit there and deal dink and dunk. We're not gonna be able to keep up with the Eagles doing that shit. It's not gonna happen. We're gonna dink and dunk this now. No, they need to throw the ball down the field. He needs to run the football. Run the football. If he can do that, we might have a chance. But we're not going to have a chance to beat that team. They're going to come out, like I said, you wrote it down. We're going to come down. We're going to be 17-zip. I bet you right now we'll go down 17-zip. We'll probably lose. I bet you we lose 31-17.
I'll put
That's
that
my
down, too.
prediction.
I got a couple of things here. For tomorrow, I feel like this has the makings of a game where some weird, crazy, nonsensical plays put the Cardinals behind the 8 ball, like some block kick that ends up going into the end zone and then the Eagles fall on it for a touchdown, or some crazy fumble,
Some shenanigans
in our side on our side of the football. You know, the same way that block kick happened in the Rams game to basically start them off on the 35 and give them free range to go and score. Tallman, I think some of the situation with not being able to push the football down the field right now is the sheer size of our receivers. You know, everybody that's on the field right now that's healthy is under 6 foot.
We're getting
So-
Wesley back, though.
Okay, so that'll be great. That'll be a guy that
like 6'3",
even
I
if
think.
even if you
Yeah.
have coverage
6'2",
that's kind of pressed up against him, you can trust 2 to 3 shots during the game to throw the ball up to him and see if he can make a play. Because the worst thing that could happen is if it gets close to being intercepted, he can bat it down. But we just don't have. I mean, after AJ Green went down and Wesley had already been hurt, we don't have any bigger guys to push down the field. And defenses can give the space to Hollywood Brown, like we saw in that Rams game with his 14 catches for 140 yards off of a 10-yard average, because they don't want to let him go on the streaks to get behind the secondary.
And you're so right. I'm not trying to jump in on you, but we knew that coming in. We didn't have those receivers. We knew Wesley was hurt. We knew D-Hop wasn't be there. Not that D-Hop's the biggest receiver ever, but we knew that we were dealing with little guys running these routes. And the fact that they can't capitalize on using their tight ends, what's happening? And we released Max Williams today. Like, come on. Like, why wouldn't you sit there? You do the 12 personnel. You have 2 tight ends running routes, Zach Ertz, fucking McBride, and Max Williams. Like that, I don't get it. Like, utilize those tight ends when you don't have the receivers that you need in those scenarios. What I'm talking about is, like, utilize those tight ends when you need that big guy. When you're doing a 50-50 ball. Like, don't throw a 50-50 ball to Brown. You don't do that. But I'm saying, like, how come they haven't utilized those tight ends in those scenarios where you need to throw a 50-50 ball, when you need somebody like that? Like, they haven't done. Like, Zach Ertz got his first touchdown last week, and it was on like a stupid little screen. Like, it's not like throw. I don't know.
Well, but I also think that's because Zach Ertz doesn't really have that in his skill anymore. Like, he's not really a go up and get it kind of tight end. He's a 10-yard out slant kind of guy. Get him in space, get him set, and then get him the football.
But he's a receiving tight end, though. He's not a blocking tight end.
He's a receiving tight end, but he's getting a little bit older. He probably doesn't have as much hop as he used to.
But he's a tight end because he's tall. How tall is Zach Ertz?
Probably 6'3", 6'4".
Do we know this?
Yeah, I have it right here. Zach Ertz is 6'5", 250
So
pounds.
6'5". Okay, throw the ball up to him. I mean, come on.
But
he's taller than every
there's a difference.
safety and defensive back that's on
There's a
him.
difference with a guy
How
like
tall's McBride?
Antoine Wesley, who's 6'3", but has speed and has momentum to get himself lifted
6'4"
in the air
Okay.
to go and contest catches like that. Zach Ertz is a big body. It's hard to get your momentum up into the air.
Wesley's 6'4".
You know what I mean? It's just a different. It's a different skill set that those guys have.
Yeah, but
And
Hollywood is 5'8", 5'9", right?
But they're not
Hollywood's
giving
5'9".
Because they know they don't want to let the big play go, so they're setting those safeties back and basically daring them to go deep. And those opportunities
5'9",
just
okay.
haven't been there
What-
because you don't have anybody right now who can go up for 50-50 balls.
And you're not
only
wrong
on
at all.
certain occasions.
You're not
you
wrong
know?
at all. But it's like, okay, well, why haven't they sat there and literally, they know that they don't have that matchup. You know, you don't have a receiver that can go up and get the ball. Like we don't have that right now. So how come they're not using the tight ends? That is my major concern. Is throw the ball to Zach Ertz. How come he doesn't have 8 catches a game? I don't get it. How come Kyler Murray doesn't run the football? That's not what we're talking about.
I feel like he's consistently got 6 catches a game. I mean, Kyler Murray's running for his life, guys. This is the damn truth. He's running for his life. He doesn't have any pocket presence right now because they're getting to him on the 4-man rush. He doesn't have any time to set and really make his reads. That's the truth about this offense. So that's why they're trying to go out and do the spread bullshit, which just isn't working because now, you know, they don't have to send blitzes to get any pressure on him. And you're seeing what we're seeing, and it's just not helping the situation. Going back to Max Williams, I feel like he probably got cut because last week was the first time that we really saw any true action or involvement from Trey McBride in the offense with his 3 catches and 24 yards. Mm-hmm. And I think they're at the point where they're like, okay, this guy is kind of serviceable. He's going to fit within what we need. And maybe, just maybe, Tallman, this will be that week where they'll start to spread the tight ends a little bit more and get him more involved. And that, you know, comes at the expense of Max Williams. I know, you know, it's a tough scenario. He's been a fan favorite for this team since he's been here the past couple of years, but he is also coming back off of a major ACL injury, I believe. And if you got fresher legs and somebody that you took in the second round, not because of need, but because he was the best player available, you better start fucking playing the guy. You know, you got to get him on the field. So love Max Williams, but you drafted this guy in the second round.
That's why
to get him on the field because he was the best player available. And you can't have sorry, Tom.
No.
But you can't have another situation like an Andy Isabella where you draft a guy high in the draft and then you end up cutting his ass after 13 catches in 4 years. They're trying to save their asses in the front office and starting to get these guys a little bit more involved because at the end of the day, we had needs and you take the guy. So you got to get him on the field and get him involved and incorporated within this offense.
You're totally right. And you saw it was almost like the writing on the wall last week where I think Max Williams only played like 15 snaps or something, and McBride played a ton of snaps, and he got a couple catches too. And you saw they were like, okay, well, we really like this new kid, so they probably felt comfortable getting rid of him. But so it's going to happen. So McBride is going to be our blocking tight end. Zach Ertz doesn't block. So McBride's going to be in there every single down where they need a tight end to do a chip block, whatever, to block anybody. McBride's going to be the one that's going to do it. Zach Ertz doesn't block. So that was the whole thing about Max Williams was he's the blocking specialist. So now that we got rid of him, that's why I was kind of shocked. And we talked about this before the season even started, and we talked about all the tight ends and how we thought that the Cardinals would have capitalized on all the tight ends that they have because we were out of DeAndre Hopkins for the first 6 weeks, and they haven't done that. And I looked up some of the Zach Ertz stats, and he had 8 catches for 87 yards in that Raiders win, and he's had 6 catches the last 2 games. Yeah. So maybe I was a little hot on that.
He's their second weapon right now.
Yeah.
So Kyler Murray looks for him after Hollywood for sure.
And then he got his first touchdown last week. But so basically what it is now we're relying on McBride to be that blocking specialist. And when we're talking about, like I said, we're talking about before the season, it was McBride's like the best of both worlds. He can block, he can catch. Where Williams was, he could block. Ertz is he can catch. So I don't know. I mean, it's a good move because he's going to get a lot more snaps, and hopefully that kid can fucking pan out and be, you know, a good tight end for us because Ertz isn't going to play forever. But We need to see more involvement.
So yeah,
we do.
definitely we do. So let me jump in here. Like I agree. I like what you guys are saying here. I agree with a lot of what's being said, including the adjustments that have been made, cutting some of the dead weight in Max Williams and Andy Isabella, guys that we invested in for a long time and just didn't pan out. So now you're looking at the receiving group of Marquise Brown, Rondale Moore, AJ Green, Greg Dortch for these next couple weeks, and then adding DeAndre Hopkins into that mix, as well as Zach Ertz and Trey McBride, like you're saying, bringing those guys into the fold. Kyler Murray is spoiled for options. He's spoiled for choice. So there's going to be a lot of onus on the offensive line to keep him protected, but it's also going to be, I think, like we've been highlighting, Cliff Kingsbury to make better play calls to set him up for success. Kyler Murray to make quicker decisions. Is he going to use his feet and get out of the pocket, or is he going to make a pass? Are we going to make more focus on the ground with James Conner and even getting Eno Benjamin some more play time? Because it's a good change-up. James Conner's more of a power guy. Eno Benjamin kind of is a quicker guy. I've seen that be a good 1-2 punch. There's a lot of things that I think are reason for being optimistic in the coming weeks, as like we've said, Seattle next week on the 16th, 4 days later in New Orleans, or I'm sorry, at home versus New Orleans on Thursday Night Football. That's going to be a big game. DeAndre Hopkins is coming back. Between now and the next time we do a Heat Check podcast, we'll also be at Minnesota on the 30th of October and back at home against Seattle on the 6th of November. So with that being said, Michael Benjamin, like I said, we're 2-2 right now. With those games out ahead of us, that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 more games out. With those opponents, what do you think our record will be the next time we record a Heat Check podcast?
Ooh, maybe hoping 5-4. I think we can scratch out that Thursday night win. Unfortunately, that might be the first home win that we have in over a calendar year. I know the Saints have some weapons, but their offense has been banged up as well. Michael Thomas is still not right. Jarvis Landry has been dealing with some issues, as well as Jameis Winston, and they're not the greatest football team. So getting back D-Hop for that game on a nationally televised Thursday night football, man, that'll be a great way to kind of start, your second half of the season and do what we haven't done the past couple of years, which is finish strong. It's going to be huge to get D-Hop back into the fold, because at the end of the day, what have been our biggest problems has been the offense. So if you can add back a huge weapon like that, I know he's a little bit older. I think he's 30, 31, but he's still one of the best receivers in this league. Geno Smith with the Seahawks has been very serviceable for them. Probably a bit of a surprise for a lot of people. I feel like he's leading the league in passing, if not.
Really?
Am I not correct on that? I might not be.
Is he?
But I think he had 6 total touchdowns last week in that win over the Lions.
Wow.
So
I can't believe they stayed with the Lions.
The truth of the matter is this Cardinals football team is a better overall unit than the Seahawks. So I see both of those being wins. But this game on Sunday is going to be really tough. And if we can get that win over Seattle, 3-3, getting back D-Hop, maybe we can start a run going, into the second half of this season. Because here's the other thing. Not too high, not too low.
Mm-hmm.
It was week 7. Week 7. After D-Hop has come back into that game, I know it's the first test that he has back. But then week 8, I know he hasn't played football, only one game. But week 8 is, kind of what you have,
Yeah.
So that's where we really start to have those conversations about what this football team really is truly. And the last thing is, the beauty about the situation is the NFC West, everybody is 2-2. So it is a true even playing field for everyone. And we are nowhere near close to playing our best football. And we've had to squeak out some wins, but nobody else in the NFC West is looking like world beaters right now. So this division is up for grabs.
Absolutely. And that's the beautiful thing, is it doesn't matter how you get the wins at the end of the year, at the end of the season. It's what the record says. So if we can be in a position to make the playoffs as either the division winner or the wild card, I think we'll all be happy with that outcome. And I think 5-4 is really achievable. Tallman, do you have any last opinions on that? What do you think through 9 games our record will be with D-Hop coming back in week 6?
So
Or week 7 rather.
No, you're right. Yeah, week 7.
Yeah, week 7.
Against
Yeah,
Saints.
against the Saints.
I don't know, man. It's serviceable for sure. Just looking at their schedule. Hold on, I just clicked the wrong tab. My bad.
Oh, you're good.
So we're gonna lose tomorrow. I'm sorry. I apologize.
Yeah, it's Eagles then at Seattle.
Yeah. So then we beat Seattle with 3-3. If we can pull off that Thursday night win against the Saints, great. Then if we're gonna play the Vikings at home and we can beat them.
Isn't that in Minnesota?
That's
I think it is.
That's in Minnesota.
I meant Vikings at home. I did not say that right.
Yeah, Vikings at our home.
And then the next week we have Seattle again at home. So if we need to capitalize on these next 4 games after tomorrow, because after that, dude, we played the Rams and the 49ers, and those 2 games are going to be our season. That's going to determine whether we're going to be a playoff team or not. That is our season right there. Those 2 back-to-back games with the Rams and the 49ers, if we don't, this is the soft point of our schedule. Like, we need to win every single game until we hit that back-to-back with the Rams and the 49ers. Because after that, we played the Chargers, we played the Patriots, we played the Broncos, we played the Bucks.
Wow.
Which are all teams, but those are all teams that are having their own struggles right now.
Yeah,
so those are up for grab games.
The Broncos could.
They look worse than us?
The Broncos.
The Broncos might be one of the worst teams in football.
The Broncos look terrible.
I mean, come on, what? You're gonna tell me right now that the Cardinals won't find a way to lose to the Broncos?
I'm not saying they won't find a way.
I feel like the Cardinals find a way to beat Russell Wilson.
We're gonna go. We're gonna go to Mile High Stadium and we're gonna play the Broncos. What I'm saying is, at that point in the season, what week would that be? So we're week 5, 6, 7, 8. So week 9 and week 10, when we play 10 and 11, when we play the Rams and the Niners, that's when the division's going to be kind of figured out. And those are going to be 2 huge games. Because right now, the team to beat in the division, I think, is the 49ers.
Yeah.
That is the team to beat. So if we lose to the Rams and we lose to the Niners, we're not going to make the playoffs. That's what I'm saying. Those 2 games right there are so big that if we don't capitalize and win one or both of them, we're not going to make the playoffs. So that's really going to determine our season. So I know I kind of went over what you were saying. I could really see us being what would it be? I could see us after week 9. I could see us being 6-3.
Yeah.
Yeah, I could see
5-4,
a Saints win, a Seattle win. I think we can beat the Vikings. I think that as long as we don't get too low on how much we get stomped tomorrow.
I think 6-3 is realistic.
It's realistic. I mean, the Vikings are very inconsistent right now. You know, they have weapons, but Dalvin Cook, once again, it seems like he's hurt. Justin Jefferson just is not consistent enough. He's a great player.
He might be the best receiver in the league.
Exactly. But, I mean, and then Kirk Cousins is Kirk Cousins. He's just always going to be.
You don't like that?
I don't like that.
I like that.
And you know who else I don't like? Patrick Peterson. So every time that we can beat
he
the
blocked
shit,
the kick, man. Did you see that?
Every time that we can beat him,
Jordan Hicks got a pick.
Just rub it in his face a little bit more. I'm all about it. And hopefully the team is ready to step up as well. But 5-4 is what you hope to be going into those weeks. And I think the 2 biggest games within the next month are going to be those Seahawks games.
Yep.
You have to win those games in order to strengthen your record within the division and go up when you meet up against the Rams and the 49ers with a 2-1 record in the division. Because if you can go 1-1, beat the Rams or the 49ers, you're setting yourself up for a positive record and hopefully, you know, be in front after that week 11 fight against the 49ers. But I really want to pivot a little bit and talk about the release of Andy Isabella, if you guys are okay with that.
Of course.
I have nothing good to say.
We did touch on that a little bit, and I'm glad you brought it up because we have talked about Andy Isabella quite a bit on this podcast. And I was really, I've said it before, I was really hot on Andy Isabella. You good, Tallman?
Yeah, Phil.
Okay, gotcha.
He dropped his mic. He has nothing to say about it.
Yeah, that's
He's speechless. He's really upset about Andy Isabella.
I'll let you know how I feel about it.
No, I want you guys. I want to hear what you guys have to say. But just real quick to chip in my 2 cents is this is a kid I was high on coming out of when we drafted him. I bought the goods, if you want to say. I drank the Kool-Aid, if you will. And it just, I don't know if it was him not being utilized or I didn't really hear these reports out of practice, but at the time he was drafted, he was highly lauded and talked up to be this great asset. And I've mentioned it before, and I don't know how much stock you put into it, but Madden was also really high on him and his development trait. And these YouTubers were always getting Andy Isabella. Now I know that's just a video game, that's just virtual numbers and shit. And to not get derailed, but I'm a little sad that I feel like maybe Andy Isabella didn't get utilized or didn't get a fair shake or a fair chance. And he could be one of these stories we always see in the Valley of a guy that gets not used and kicked to the corner and then picked up by another team and finds success. I could see him getting picked up by the Patriots or a team like that. I've said that before.
Vikings.
The Vikings. I'm sure there's a lot of teams that could use a speedy little receiver like Andy Isabella. But Mike, you brought that up, and Cody, you seem to have some strong feelings and opinions on the Andy Isabella release. So I'll pass the mic over to you now.
All right. I have 4 names for you right now. Are you ready? First one, DK Metcalf. Second, Deontay Johnson. Third, Terry McLaurin. Fourth, Hunter Renfrow. We're talking about people that got picked after Andy Isabella in that same draft in 2019. Unbelievable. It's just so Steve Keim, he can't hit on a single draft pick. Doesn't even matter. Oh, Steve Keim, he can trade no matter. It's a Keim time signing, right? He can sign a free agent, he can trade for whatever, but he can't draft for shit. And that's one right there. And them releasing Andy Isabella was basically them saying, hey, we missed on this one. We totally missed. We suck, right? So, I mean, the only reason they gave him a chance was because he was a second-round pick. And we're sitting there, we're talking about a draft where the Cardinals took 3 wide receivers in that draft. And we're talking about Andy Isabella, Hakeem Butler, what was the other guy? Oh, Keyshawn Johnson. Yeah. So we're talking about 3 receivers that aren't even close to even being on the team anymore. Isabella, yeah. The only reason Isabella was on the team.
What happened to Keyshawn Johnson?
They cut him. He
got cut a long time ago.
Well, he was like a 6th-round pick, I think.
Oh.
Yeah. But the only reason Isabella's on the team was because you have Hopkins out, and they were running into the start of the season with Rondale Moore hurt. That's the only reason he made the 53-man roster to start the season. If they were both healthy if Moore was healthy and Hopkins didn't get suspended, he wouldn't have made the roster. He would have cut a long time ago. So this was a long time coming. He doesn't belong on this team. He was the biggest waste of a draft pick that I think we've seen in the last 5 years. We can talk about all the terrible draft picks that the Cardinals have had, but that right there is horrible. And I know it's a woulda, coulda, shoulda. We can go back and look at all these drafts and say, oh, yeah, the year that we drafted Levi Brown, we could have had Adrian Peterson. Was that what it was?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, there's a lot of that
you can go back and you can sit there, but you can't dwell on the past. I know that. But at the same time, it's unbelievable that you sit there and you're so high on this kid who was like 5'10". Yeah, he ran a 4.3. He had great, numbers in college.
Good hands.
Yeah, he had great numbers in college. And the whole thing with DK was DK did not have good numbers in college. So he was rated higher.
A lot of drops, yeah.
Yeah, so if the Cardinals didn't pick him in the second round, somebody else would have picked him. And then did you guys hear the whole thing going back to where they asked Cliff Kingsbury, they go, who do you want to pick? Who do you want to pick? And Kingsbury's like, I want Andy Isabella. And they fucking picked Andy Isabella. So you got to sit there and think about, how does that process even go? Do they really listen to what Kingsbury says?
Yeah,
does he have some influence in that? Because why the fuck did they pick that guy? Unbelievable. They're lucky that same draft was the Kyler Murray draft, and they got Byron Murphy in the beginning of the second round.
Yeah,
because they got that Isabella pick from they traded for something. What was it? They got that second round pick back from something because they had 2 picks in the second. Anyway, who cares about that? Unbelievable. Did you see his attitude when they interviewed him to start the season? And he was like, I should get more tries. I should get more whatever. I am ready to go to prove something. He had the worst attitude ever. He did not want to be here. He literally asked for a trade, and the Cardinals was like, "Yeah, sure, we'll get you a trade." Nobody wanted to trade for him. Nobody wanted him. He's unproven. Last year he had 1 fucking catch. Okay, he is the biggest pile of dog shit I've ever seen in my entire life. And if he's listening to this right now, dude, I swear to God, I will punt your fucking 5'9" ass into the fucking bushes, dude. Get out of here. You don't belong in any NFL roster. I don't care what you're doing. Even when you were playing. Remember that when he was on the fucking sideline and he didn't even come forward to catch that fucking ball at the end of that game? Granted, it was garbage time, but like, step up. Step up. He is not playing football. I don't know what he's doing. He doesn't belong on an NFL roster. He's fucking lucky that he's fucking fast. If he wasn't fast, I don't get it. He has no football talent. He can't run a goddamn route. He is not a team player. He's the worst ever. And that's the biggest mistake Steve Keim ever made. And I sat there, I told you guys before, there was 4 names that we could have done. Wow, imagine if we drafted any of those other 4 names. Imagine what our fucking wide receiver room would look like right now if we had DK Metcalf, Deontay Johnson, Terry McLaurin, even Hunter Renfrow. Yeah. When he was coming out, Isabella was coming out, they compared him to Julian Edelman, but faster. Really? Julian Edelman, but faster? Never saw that once in my life. The worst. The worst. You know what they say about Andy Isabella? You know what they say about him?
What do they say?
The worst. That's it.
Yes.
I love the
passion. I love it. Tallman, I agree with you on so much of what you just said. I think this is going to end up being Steve Keim's swan song in regards to the worst decision that he ever made in regards to a draft class, and it might outshine any of the great signings that he made in the past, in 2015 with Dwight Freeney.
Those Keim time signs.
Bringing in Jonathan Abram. You're talking about an undersized guy who went to UMass. Is that even a D1 school? Is that like D1 AA or whatever they call it?
Right.
And in 4 years, he caught 33 balls. Every single year, his games played went down. He started at 15, then to 13, then to 8, and then to 3. And I don't even know if any of that was really because of injury. I just think that he was never up to snuff to be on the field. Mm-hmm. And the last lasting memory that I will have of Andy Isabella was, I believe, in that Rams game when he had that go route and he just stopped running and Kyler Murray had thrown it to the pylon. And if he had just kept running, he might have had a chance to make a play at the ball. But absolutely disappointing. We went into this year talking about the situation with D-Hop and the opportunity that Andy Isabella was going to have to cement himself as a true player in this league. And what did he do? He fell on his face, could never get involved, and could not be trusted. And it's always a crapshoot in the league for the drafts. I understand that, but we're talking about the same time. Yeah, you'd love to have a speed receiver like that, but how do you not just test the market on a DK Metcalf with his freakish abilities and hope to mold him into the player that Seattle has now? He's a
top
superstar.
10 receiver.
He's a bona fide superstar, even with Geno Smith. And we'd be having different discussions right now about
even the other names, even Hunter Renfrow.
Exactly. Well, and that's the other thing. Hunter Renfrow was a proven commodity in NCAA football with Clemson, and he
even
caught that game-winning ball against was it Alabama when they won with Deshaun Watson?
Yeah, even though Renfrow coughed up that fumble for us to win the game.
Yeah, appreciate you.
Yeah.
Appreciate you, Hunter.
Yeah, thanks, Hunter.
This is this is going to go down as the most disappointing decision that Steve Keim has ever made. I don't have any doubts about that. To waste a second-round pick on a guy that ended up with 33 catches over 4 years is just utterly absurd. And this can go back to some of the conversations that we had about, well, how long do you give guys that are high-round draft picks?
Right.
Like when we talked about Isaiah Simmons and Zaven Collins, how long do you give them to make the best out of their opportunities and prove that those, picks in the above the hundreds, they were worth it? And to not get anything back for him, I think that's just absolutely a joke. We couldn't get a 6th-round pick for him.
Teams called our bluff, and now I don't know when he's going to clear waivers or like I said, someone's going to pick him up. He's a guy who maybe he'll get looked at. I don't know at what capacity. I just don't get it. He did have a good 40 time. He showed potential, but never did anything with the Cardinals. I think he spent a lot of time on special teams, never really sniffed the field. But enough about Andy Isabella. I think it's a great opportunity for us to transition to a more broad focus on the whole league and a segment we've been doing on TikTok over at AZ_VSP on TikTok, where you can find Valley Sports Plug content, and that is Tallman Ticket, where every week VSP Tallman gives us his picks and who he thinks is going to win. What's your overall record for picks on the season, Tallman?
Oh, shit. Well, coming into last week, it was 3 for 15, but we did good last week. We got 4 out of 6, and we were close on those ones that we missed. So it was competitive. So do the math. What is it? 7 for God knows what. 7 for dog shit. So yeah.
7 for 21?
21, yeah. So
yep. So Tallman's ticket has not been hitting. He doesn't have a winning ticket yet, but it's never too late to turn that around. It's real early in the season. So we're going to do this live. If you're watching on TikTok, we are doing this while we're recording the podcast, and you can find us on Spotify and Apple Podcasts. So Tallman, what is the Tallman ticket
Let's go.
for week 5?
You got it. So because we were talking about depressing Andy Isabella shit, I'm going to give you guys some more depressing stuff. Are you ready? Okay. And we're back. It is the Tallman Ticket. It is the greatest show on the planet. We are here live from Studio B, Valley Sports Plug. Let's go. You guys ready again to lose some more goddamn money? I sure as hell am. It's going to be a lot of fun. Just kidding. I lost enough money today on college football. Thanks a lot, guys. We're going to do a 6-leg parlay. You guys ready for this? This could be a lot of fun. Ton of fun. I know I'm getting a little risky, a little frisky with those 6-leggers. Should probably only do 5, maybe 4. Probably 3 is more my speed because I'm such a goddamn rookie, but who cares? Let's do it. I'm a professional money loser. Here we go. 6-leg parlay. We're going to take the Green Bay Packers, the money line. We're going to take the Detroit Lions, the spread, plus 3.5. We're going to go the Tennessee Titans, spread, minus 2.5.
Spread it.
We're going to spread those cheeks, baby. We're going to take the Seattle Seahawks, spread, plus 5.5. We're going to go the Buffalo Bills, money line. And then last but not least, we're going to take the Philadelphia Eagles, minus 5.5 spread over the Arizona Cardinals at home.
Boo.
We're going to get bootied down, baby, okay? All right, so we're going to lose that game. Hopefully we don't lose that bet. Hopefully we can win some money for once, because right now we are all professional money losers. So shout out Valley Sports Plug. Shout out the Tallman Ticket. Follow along. Let's have some fun. This is going to be a great time, everybody. So I love you guys. Take care. Get risky and frisky.
There you have it, folks. Get risky and frisky. That is the Tallman Ticket. Ow. Yes, sir. Every week you can find that on TikTok at AZ_VSP. And I know it's going to hit one of these days. I feel good about this ticket. I feel good. These are high stakes. He gives you the best odds, so no matter if you put $1 on it or if you put $100 on it, you're going to win big money. He doesn't go for these little weak bets. He doesn't go for the cheap bets. He goes for the fences. Cody Tallman swings for the fences, and we've seen that. So,
well, if you're smart, you would go opposite everything that I pick.
We'll see. But
Just kidding.
We appreciate you. If you're listening and you've made it this far, you're about an hour and 20 minutes into the Heat Check podcast, and we love you guys so much and couldn't do this without you. So keep hitting that like button, keep watching our content, tuning into our live streams, and we'll keep putting that out for you. We have so much fun doing it. So winding down this 10th episode, I just wanted to talk about the Arizona Diamondbacks and how they finished their season 74-88, which on paper doesn't look good. But when you weigh it against their 2021 season, that's a 22-game win improvement and a home record of 40-41, which is nearly 500. I think that's something to be optimistic about and looking forward to the future. We have a lot of young talent. We've even drafted more talent in Andrew Jones Jr. An unfortunate injury in batting practice, but we're going to get him back, and he's going to join this young core of Corbin Carroll, led by our pitching roster of Zach Gallen and these other young arms. I hope that they can make some moves in this offseason and really bolster this roster in this pitching rotation. Mark Melancon, Jesus. I keep saying Melancon because he's a con. Like I've said, he's a con.
He's a con.
He conned us into giving him a contract that he was not worthy of, and it's frustrating. But we got to move on from that type of shit, and they got to bolster this bullpen. And looking forward to next season, I think there is reason for optimism. They even won their very last game of the season against Milwaukee 4-2, and that's so good signs all around. Michael Benjamin, I'll pass this over to you. What are you looking forward to in the Diamondbacks' future?
Step in the right direction. Really excited how they finished. Obviously, we put the Golden Carrot Award to finish 500. Fell short a little bit, but finished the season strong. Seems like we have two bona fide aces, you could say, in Merrill Kelly and Zach Allen. Merrill Kelly had 13 wins on the season. Zach Allen with a 12-4 record, 2.54 ERA, 192 strikeouts. Just really a great year out of him. Our outfield, we have some really exciting young prospects, especially with the call-up of Corbin Carroll. Alec Thomas, I think he got demoted towards the end of the season, but he went to Reno and really finished strong.
It was a performance thing. It was just a
roster thing.
Right. And then you also have guys like Dalton Varsho, Stone Garrett, Jake McCarthy. So I think we're in a really good spot where we're going to be able to leverage some of those pieces because obviously you only have 3 outfield positions. You might be able to send some of those guys to get better pieces, bolster your infield, and really, really work on that bullpen. I feel like we set a record this year with almost like 40 blown save opportunities or something like that.
Yeah. Or it was the bullpen had the most L's.
Yeah, we've highlighted that on a previous podcast.
Not specifically
they lost the most
saves,
games
but
in Major League. Yeah.
But wins going into the last third of the game, and we ended up blowing the game. So we could have been talking about a completely different season, but we have a lot of young, exciting pieces. So 2 guys at the top of the rotation that should only get better. And then, it's all about shoring up that bullpen and figuring out what the hell you're going to do with Madison Bumgarner, because my goodness, does he stink. 7-15 on the year.
I hope they can get rid of Mad Bum. I don't think they will be able to. Tallman, tell us what about Mad Bum. What are your feelings on him? Are you looking for him to be shipped out or just hoping he shapes up?
No, we're stuck with him. He's going nowhere. So all you got to do is try to make him be a little bit of a compliment on what's going on. By no means is it going to be the ace. When you have Merrill Kelly and Zach Allen, he's going to be the 3rd or 4th guy in the rotation. But unfortunately, we're going to be stuck with him. So we just have to sit here and pray and hope that he can be one of those guys when you turn that corner on your career. It's either you make it or break it. So we got to hope that he figures it out because he's not going anywhere. So we're going to have him on the roster for next year, maybe the year after. So no one's going to buy him out. But we might get to the point next year where it's like, okay, well, we have all this young talent, and they literally might sit there and say, let's just cut him and let's eat the rest of the contract.
Right.
So this year it was too much where there's we can't cut him because we owe him too much money. Mm-hmm. So next year they might get to it if we're a little bit competitive. If some of those young cats that Mike is talking about, which I love the young talent, man, and the future of this team is so bright, it's unbelievable. And they might get to that point where it's we're just gonna eat it. We're gonna eat the contract. Just leave. Just walk. They might tell him just to walk, and they'll eat it.
Yeah.
And that might be the best thing that could happen, rather than having him pitch every fifth day.
Mm-hmm.
So it sucks. It sounded so good when it happened. Remember, we were so excited when they signed him. I thought he was going to be good.
I was optimistic. I'm always optimistic.
Yeah,
for the home
I was
team.
extremely optimistic. I thought he was going to be good, but it didn't really turn out that way. And I mean, every time I think about that team, it's all about the bullpen, man.
Yeah.
What are they going to do? What are they going to do to shore up that bullpen? Because they thought, oh, we'll bring in
quit signing cons.
We'll bring in the con artist to be our guy, our closer, and that didn't work out.
No.
And then we have our
didn't they get old ass Daniel Hudson too?
No, Ian Kennedy.
Oh, Ian Kennedy.
Yeah, so it sounded like a good idea when you got Ian Kennedy and you got Mark Melancon, the con artist.
Melancon. Yeah.
So that sounded great going into the season, but it turned out to be really bad. And then our is it John Duplantier? We had our lone all-star. What was it? In the last couple games, he gave up.
No, it wasn't Duplantier. It was who was the all-star?
Shit.
Shoot.
Oh, my bad. I was totally wrong.
Mantiply?
Mark Mantiply, yeah. Yeah, Duplantier was a starting pitcher, I believe, right?
Wow, okay. I apologize. I was close, though.
No, but yeah,
but he wasn't that good either at the end of the season. So it's just a fact of what are you guys going to do to fix that? Because right now, like you said earlier,
Joe Mantiply. I'm sorry, not Mark Mantiply. Right?
It's Joe.
It's Joe.
I said John.
I said said John. I said
John
Mark.
Duplantier. God damn it.
We're all over the place. We're Valley Sports experts, guys. I promise you.
It was kind of close.
Mark.
Give it to him.
It's
Mark.
It's Mark the con artist, Melanson.
Yeah, Mark Melanson. Yes.
Yeah,
these names are all jumbled.
Joe Mantiply. Yeah.
Mantiply. Yeah. No, but I got you, Tallman. I see what you're saying there. The bullpen definitely needs to be shored up. Michael Benjamin, what about you, dog?
I really only have one more thing to say about the Diamondbacks, and it's a huge shout out to Zach Gallen. I mean, he had an incredible year. 12-4,
set the record.
9.4 strikeouts per 9, 0.91 WHIP, and ERA 2.54. If he can come out next year as the bona fide ace, we're going to be in a good position. Now it's time to get some rest, go into the off season, start looking at this roster, making your adjustments, and come back for spring training in March next year, stronger and ready to compete for at least a wild card position next year. I'm super excited for everything that we're doing right now, guys, because we're in one of the best places to talk about sports, because spring training is in our backyard. So next year we're going to be going out to games. We'll be at Tempe Diablo. We'll be at Salt River Stadium. Go check out Sloan Park with the Cubs. Do some different kind of coverage for baseball. So
you better buy tickets 2 weeks in advance.
Keep sticking along with us. We love this shit too much that we're not going to keep. We're going to be pushing out some really cool content coming up in the future. And last thing, like I said, shout out Zach Gallen, man. He's the guy.
He set the record for the D-backs, 44.1 innings scoreless. That's huge.
Yeah.
Incredible.
No, it's crazy to think that all three of our major Valley sports teams, no offense to the Coyotes, but the baseball, basketball.
We're going to some Yotes games too. So.
No, and we're going to go to some Yotes
we
games
are.
and be looking out for that content. On our YouTube channel, we're going to be putting out all those videos. Michael Benjamin has been making some incredible videos. We do Cardinals recaps every Monday morning. You can catch those, or Tuesday if it's a Monday game, or probably Friday if it's a Thursday game. You know how it goes. And so be looking out for that. And we are on Twitter at AZ_VSP. As you know this. But man, you guys, I'm so excited for the future is what all I'm trying to say is the Suns are definitely going to be in the playoffs. That's where people are writing them in. The Cardinals are right in the thick of it for being a playoff contender. And the Diamondbacks have this young core where in a year or 2 or 3, they could really be making moves within their division, especially not to say they won't make the playoffs, but I appreciate you guys coming out here. We're in Studio B of Valley Sports Plug. This was the Heat Check Podcast, episode 10. We'll be back at you next month. We'll see how the Suns do to start their season with these first 10 games. We'll see how the Cardinals are doing through their first 9 or 10 games and check up with you next time. So leave a comment, leave a like, and tell your friends about it. And we will see you next time. Peace.
Double digits, baby.
Risky and frisky, baby.